Prosecutors are accountable.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good morning again, Mr. Coleman.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Hoover.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So yesterday, during your direct with the state, the two of you spoke about certain pictures from Instagram that you uncovered throughout your investigation. Is that correct?
That I reviewed, yes, sir.
That you reviewed. I want to hand you, Your Honor, may I approach the witness? Yes. I want to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 157. In your report, I believe it's page 99.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember you and the state talking about that video? I'm sorry, that picture?
Yes, sir.
And for the record and for the jury, this is the picture where it's a picture of Mr. Coleman's hand, and the letter lowercase I is on one finger, capital S is on one finger, capital K is on one finger, and the number 8 is on another finger. Is that what you're looking at?
It's Mr. Conley's hand.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
not Mr. Coleman. Yes, sir. So the I skate 8. Do you remember you and the state talking about that picture?
Yes, sir.
Now you know the I skate is not gang affiliated in any way, shape, or form, don't you?
No, sir, I don't.
You don't know that? Are you aware that the I skate is actually a skating brand or a skating company?
I'm not aware of that, sir.
Are you aware that this brand creates surfboards and ice skating equipment and rollerblades and skateboards, and they hold competitions? You didn't know that at all?
I'm not aware of the company, sir.
Okay. Do you remember when you were talking about your training and experience with the state yesterday?
Yes, sir.
And while you were discussing your training and experience of what you do to ascertain information, you said one of them is a quick Google search.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct? So did you Google I skate the exact same way it's tattooed on Mr. Conley's hand?
No, sir, I did not.
Did not. So you didn't have any context to what the letters and the number actually meant because you didn't do anything to find out. Is that what you're saying?
I did have some context, sir. Mr. Conley had made the Instagram post associating the ice skate with the gang with the Elm Street Pyrus. So he made the association there, what that means to him, and I believe I talked about it earlier. I don't know what it means to him. He made the joint association.
Oh, he did. Okay, so can you please, I don't remember seeing that. Can you please show this jury what information Mr. Conley posted that says Pyru owns ice skate, the ice skate company or ice skate brand?
I didn't make that connection about ownership, sir.
Okay. So my question is, do you have a piece of evidence that shows that Mr. Conley made some type of statement that says Pyru or the Bloods own the ice skate brand?
There is no statement about ownership of the brand, sir. It's an association that he made associating Ice Skate Mob with Elm Street.
Okay. How? Do they go on like group retreats and go ice skating together?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Do they go to skateboard parks and go rollerblading together?
I don't know.
Okay. So you're saying this, but there's no piece of evidence that you can show the jury that demonstrates what you showed them yesterday is actually gang affiliated to the Bloods or Pyru or anyone, can you?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to locate that post right now, sir. Yes, sir. So on page 85 of my report, and I'm sorry, I don't know the state's exhibit number, but there's a posting that says 700 block, Elm Street, Pyru, Turf Runner Nation, Ice Skate Mob. We discussed it on direct from the state as one of the postings that was made making that association.
Okay, so he did talk about 700 Block, and we understand you know what that's gang affiliated, and he did talk about the other one. But how does iSkate, what affiliation does the Bloods or Pyru have with iSkate? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yes, sir. I don't know what the direct affiliation is to him. It is him demonstrating that outwardly, saying the gang with that. What it means, he would have to clarify, sir.
Okay, so as of right now, you have no information as to the affiliation between iSkate and the Bloods?
Outside of that post, no, sir.
All right, so even though you have no affiliation or no actual context to the affiliation between iSkate and the Bloods, you and the state still presented it to the jury as if it was part of the gang evidence.
He made the association. What it means, the defendant would have to answer, sir.
Now, when you first spoke with the state yesterday on direct, he went over your training experience, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And afterwards, he asked the judge to certify you as a gang expert in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and he certified you as a gang expert so you could explain to the jury what evidence you collected and how you can prove the affiliation of gangs. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So now your testimony is, well, the state's gang expert needs somebody else to help them understand their own evidence?
No, sir.
Okay. So we go back to you as the state's gang expert presented evidence to the jury, and you have no actual context of the affiliation between iSkate and the Bloods or the Pyru or anyone, correct?
I've explained the posting. He made the association. What it means is the defendant would have to clarify, sir.
And you testified yesterday that context is important, isn't it?
It is.
So you presented evidence to the jury, and you have no idea about the actual context of it.
It's a posting that was made on an account that's covered in gang evidence, sir.
So that's a yes, you did. We'll move on. Now let's talk about the nexus. You're aware, or I don't know if you're aware. Have you seen the indictment in this case?
I have not seen the indictment.
Okay. Are you aware of the charges that Mr. Conley is facing?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm just going to show you. For the record, I'm showing you the most recent copy of the indictment that I have. Go ahead and look over it. Let me know when you're ready to talk about it.
Yes, sir. All right, sir, I've reviewed it. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, since you're the state's gang expert, well, let me back up for everybody. So, and the jury's heard the judge read the indictment a number of times now, but Mr. Conley is being charged with murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, criminal damage to property, and possession of firearm during commission of a felony, and a number of gang charges. And since you're the state's gang expert, I would like to go over the gang charges with you in reference to the evidence that you presented to the jury, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, counts 9 and count 17 deal with the gang statute, which is 1615-4 for the record. And in regards to count 9 and count 17 specifically, it deals with subsection A of the gang statute. So that's what we're going to focus on right now. And just for the jury's understanding of it, subsection A deals with conduct or participation in gang activity, but in furtherance of the gang aspect. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. Now, based off of your investigation, the part that you did in this case, you don't have any type of evidence to present to this jury that shows that the Bloods somehow received proceeds because of the acts that occurred that Julian is being charged with, do you?
No financial remuneration in this case, sir.
Okay. You don't have any evidence to present to this jury that shows that these acts were committed in such a highly visible manner that the witnesses were like, yep, the Bloods did that, the Pyrus did that, do you?
I would say so, sir, with Mr. Conley wearing the Pyru shirt in that manner, yes, sir.
Which witness do you remember ever saying that?
I haven't seen any of the witnesses, sir.
Okay, so my specific question to you was, do you have any evidence that you could show this jury that it was done in such a highly visible manner that one of the witnesses said the Pyrus did that?
Again, I haven't heard any of the testimony that the witnesses have set up here, but from the video footage that I've observed, yes, sir. I mean, it was in a very highly visible manner in the middle of the street. It's not like it happened inside a structure, residential dwelling, or anything like that.
True. So let me set up a little something. A lot of people took part of the entire investigation. You would agree with that, correct?
Sure.
Okay. More than one person?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And whoever took part in the investigation, they most likely came in here and testified at some point during this trial. Would you agree with that? You're not the only witness.
Yeah, certainly. Yes, sir.
So your sole part of this investigation deals with the gang aspect of it, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
As it relates to the defendants.
Yes. So just like we heard from everyone else, now I'm asking you specific questions about your investigation and the evidence you collected and reviewed.
Yes, sir.
Now, my specific question, we know a shooting outside is public. That's not my specific question. My specific question is based off of your investigation and the evidence that you reviewed. Do you have anything to show this jury that these acts were committed in such a highly visible manner that the witnesses said that was Pyru who did that? I know exactly who it was. That was Pyru.
I'm not sure at this point. This has been asked and answered 3 or 4 times.
He hasn't actually answered the question yet, Your Honor.
Again, I'd refer back to the video footage, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you have any evidence to present to this jury that the victims said, I know exactly who that was Pyru who did it?
Not the victims, no, sir.
Do you have any evidence to present to this jury that the purpose of these acts that Mr. Conley is being charged with was to establish, reinforce, or enhance the Blood's reputation in any way?
Yes, sir. So that action being committed in front of other individuals that are affiliated with the gang increases his own stain, his own reputation with the fellow gang members that he's in the area with.
So when I go on Wikipedia and I type that in, it says the exact same thing. What I'm asking you is based off of your investigation, based off of the evidence that you reviewed, can you show this jury a piece of evidence that the purpose of these acts were to establish, reinforce, or enhance the Blood's reputation? Can you show them something?
Once again, I would refer to the video footage, sir, and it's consistent with my training and experience and understanding that that is the conduct that gang members engage in, particularly when in the presence of fellow gang members.
So that's a no. Let's move on to the next one. Do you have any evidence to present to this jury that you found yourself and that you, throughout your investigation, that other Blood members were referencing these specific acts on social media saying, we're the ones that did this?
No, sir.
Do you have any specific or any piece of evidence whatsoever to show the jury that other Blood members are referencing this on social media saying, or for a way to intimidate other people? Look what we've done once, we'll do it to you too.
Not on social media as it relates specifically to this shooting incident.
So basically, based on your training and experience, you know since what, the 60s or 70s that the Bloods have been in existence, that happens, but you can't show this jury how it actually happened specifically in this case against Julian Conley. That's what you're saying?
No, sir, I disagree with that conclusion. If they were to say, oh yeah, we're the ones that went out and shot this, every single gang crime that occurred would result in an arrest 100% of the time for going on social media and admitting that, hey, I'm the one that did this and this is why I did this. I wish that's the way it was. It would make our job a lot easier, but we have to put the pieces together.
I got you. But I guess my point is, from the evidence that you presented to the jury, from your testimony that you presented to the jury, all you're saying is, since the Bloods have been in existence, this is how it happens, but I can't show you that's what happened here. That's what I'm hearing.
No, sir. That can happen. That's not exclusively the way that it happened in this case, but I mean, that is something that can happen with the Bloods.
Okay. And in 21 SC 178690-01, the state of Georgia versus Julian Conley, in this case, can you present any evidence to the jury that shows it happened in this case with these acts with Mr. Conley?
Yes, sir. Again, I would refer back to the video and understanding the context of why it happened and how it happened, sir.
All right, thank you. Now for counts 10 and count 18. Again, that's the Georgia statute 1615-4, but now we're under subsection B, which is with the intent to increase or maintain their status. So now I want to focus your attention to your testimony, your investigation in subsection B, okay?
Yes, sir.
You don't have any evidence at all to present to this jury what Julian Conley's status was before July 4th, 2020, do you?
His status was that he was at minimum an associate of the gang. As far as a specific rank, I'm not able to determine that, but he was an associate of the gang at minimum, sir.
And I believe you used the term stain.
Yes, sir.
What was his stain?
Stain is just like a reputation. It can mean a rank, but it's more about like the reputation that you bring into the gang and how you're known within that gang as someone that is that's kind of a phrase used commonly is 10 toes down, somebody that stands on their business, that's willing to do the right thing in the eyes of the gang, or somebody that backs down when confronted with any type of adversity.
Okay. So as of right now, can you show any type of evidence to this jury that Julian Conley was a YG with the Bloods?
YG is a rank, which is young gangster. I don't know any ranks that I wasn't able to identify any ranks that he had in the gang.
Okay, and that goes for OG as well?
That's correct. Any of the ranks, but that's not required under the law. We just have to find that he's associated with the gang, sir.
And let's talk about that. Can you show this jury any piece of evidence that shows when Julian was ever jumped into Pyro?
So jumped in is a term that's used for an initiation. There's different types of initiations that can be used, but his specific initiation date or any type of video where that may have been taken or broadcast, no, sir.
Okay. Do you have any piece of evidence that you could show this jury if Julian was ever blessed into the gang?
Blessed in is where someone says they don't have to be jumped in. Usually it's somebody of higher rank or origin saying, you know, this person is okay, they're now a member of this gang. There's nothing that indicates that in this case, sir.
Do you have any piece of evidence that you could show this jury that Julian was sexed into the gang?
So being sexed into the gang is another way. A lot of times sometimes it can involve with female members, usually, but not always. But there's no information that I have that he was sexed into the gang, sir.
Do you have any type of information or evidence you could show this jury who Julian's OG was?
No, sir.
Do you have any type of evidence that you could present to this jury that Julian paid dues to the Bloods or Pyro?
I don't have any information about where his money went.
Do you have any evidence that you could present to this jury that Julian collected dues from other Bloods or Pyro?
I have no information about any financial arrangements with Mr. Conley.
Do you have any evidence whatsoever that Julian's name ever popped up in a book of knowledge?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
So all you know is before July 4th, 2020, Julian was posting stuff on social media about Bloods and other gangs, correct? Before July 4th, 2020.
Prior to, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any evidence to show this jury that after July 4th, 2020, and I use your quote here, his stain went up.
Yes, sir.
Show us that evidence.
It's evidence that I've been made aware of, but I don't know to what extent I can talk about that, sir.
Well, let me ask you this. Based off of the presentation that you and the state showed this jury, all of the Instagram stuff that you presented to this jury, does any of that show that Julian's stain went up?
From what we have discussed exclusively through me in this proceeding, we have not discussed any of the after effects of post the shooting incident, sir.
Okay. Now, counts 11, 12, 19, and 20, they deal with subsection E of the gang statute. So we're going to focus on subsection E. Now, subsection E deals with causes, encourages, solicits, recruits, or coerces another. However, in the indictment, all of these charges only talks about Julian encouraging. So that's what we're going to focus on, okay? Okay. All right. Can you give or let me back up like this. Can you show us a piece of evidence that shows that Julian, before the shooting happened on July 4th, encouraged other people to come with him and let's go down there and do this shooting?
So prior to the individuals manning this checkpoint and working together to kind of engage and stop these vehicles, working in concert with one another, I don't have any evidence of like how they arrived there or how they came to an agreement to engage in the conduct, sir. Okay.
And you testified yesterday that there's no group chat that he was a part of or he created, correct?
I don't know of one that exists. Not to say that there isn't one, but I'm not aware of one, sir.
Okay. And you can't show this jury that there were cell phone messages between him and other people, him encouraging people to come on down, let's do this?
I'm not aware of any cell phone that was recovered in this investigation, sir.
I believe that's all the questions I have for you right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover.
Very briefly, Judge. Good morning, Agent Coleman.
Morning.
Yesterday during cross, do you recall Mr. Hoover asking you about things that happened before July 4th as it relates to this defendant including that he was going to take part in the blockade and things of that nature? Do you recall that series of questions?
I do, yes, sir.
So based on his activities and what you observed on July 4th, what you saw on his Instagram, do you have any doubt that this defendant, Julian Connolly, is a Pirate Blood gang member?
Zero doubt.
And can you tell this jury, do you have any doubt that on July 4th, whether before, after, but on July 4th, that the Pirate Blood gang with Julian Connolly blockaded and took over the area of University and Prior Street?
No doubt, sir.
And do you have any doubt that as a result of that blockade by this defendant and members of his gang, the Pirate Bloods, Secoriea Turner was shot and killed?
No doubt, sir.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you a couple questions about something that was covered today, the ice skate tattoos and the frames. Do you recall talking about that earlier?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to show you what I think you referenced on page 85 of your report. While that's pulling up, can you tell the jurors, you kind of talked yesterday about staying up on trends and things of that nature, you see the image from State Exhibit 153 as it relates to what first says the 700 BLK Elm Street Pyru. Well, can you tell the jurors what does that mean?
Yeah, so 700 block is the block out off of Elm Street. It's a common reference to Poinsettia Ave, which is the neighborhood in the area that the Elm Street Pyrus claim. It's a north-south running, Poinsettia is a north-south running street. You've got Elm Street that is an east-west running street. It's a claim of the territory. It's the subset, the line of the gang that is claimed. There's different blocks. There's 500 block, 700 block, 1,000 block. So it's a claim to 700 block Elm Street Pyru Bloods.
So the use of the 700 BLK Elm Street Pyru and the posting that I'm looking at, is that a way that this defendant is advertising his membership or association with the Pyru Bloods?
Yes, sir.
And as you go to the third line where it says I skate mob, can you tell the jurors, based on your training, experience, number of years staying up with trends and doing research, is the association with 700 block Elm Street with the I skate mob, is that the defendant's way of associating I skate mob with Pyru Blood Association membership?
It is.
Now, I want to talk briefly with you about some of the, well, let me talk to you about a few things as it relates to your investigation. Can you tell the jurors, as part of your investigation and contained within your report, did you get documents from Cobb County as it relates to Julian Connolly's arrest in March of 2020?
Yes, sir, I did.
And can you tell the jurors, based on your review of that material, was he armed with firearms?
If I recall correctly, there were firearms that were located in a vehicle during a traffic stop in Cobb County.
And do you recall in the Instagram that you reviewed this defendant seeing from May 31st of 2020?
Yes, sir, I recall this.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so a posting saying, "Can y'all burn down Cobb County Evidence Building? I need my Glock back."
And can you tell the jurors what, if anything, that tells you as it relates to advertising things of that nature, as it relates to this defendant and the actions he's talking about prior to his arrest in Cobb County?
Yeah, so it's a reference. He had some type of law enforcement interaction in Cobb County, that something was taken from him. I know through my records review that a firearm was seized from him during a traffic stop or from a group of people in a vehicle that he was occupied in. And so a posting like this is saying to the outside world, it's publicly like, hey, I had a law enforcement interaction. I want my stuff back. And he's demonstrating that by saying, I want my Glock back, that, hey, they took my gun. I'm normally armed.
Can you tell the jurors, is it common and what it means when gang members, after they're arrested, they post about their charges or screenshot warrants that were taken out after they're either released on bond or posting from contraband phones if in custody?
Yes, sir. So, I mean, that's a way to increase your stain. It's to show that you don't have any type of regard or respect for the rule of law for anyone who may be imposing their authority beyond the gang. And a lot of times that comes in the form of law enforcement, but not always. It can sometimes be the nosy neighbor that comes out and confronts you about music being too loud or something like that. So this is a way for individuals associated with gangs to demonstrate outwardly that, look, I'm willing to take on consequences for the lifestyle that I'm leading, and I'm proud of it. And so it's advertised a lot of times on social media in that way.
And do you remember Mr. Hoover asking you about specifically as it relates to financial gain and acts that are done that lead to financial gain or additional resources? Do you remember that series of questions?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jurors
Yes, sir, there are. It's like I talked about yesterday. There's different ways to put in work on behalf of the gang. It can be providing funds, providing or acquiring things like weapons or vehicles or things like that. And then it can also be being willing to engage in violence on behalf of the gang or kind of be that strong man for the gang. There's different ways that you can support the gang.
Can you tell the jurors, you were asked a series of questions about things being highly visible and things of that nature. Do you remember that series of questions?
Yes, sir.
And it was, in conjunction with that question, a lot of information was asked in relation to regards to. I apologize. We're out again. We can't see the witness. So that's... Angle this your way. That help? Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to take a peek at your computer. I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, that's right. I was asking about the series of questions that you were asked today and some yesterday about visibility of the actions and behaviors of gang members like this defendant. And the series of questions related to social media postings and things of that nature. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jurors, I want to start with the Bloods have been around for a while, correct?
Yes, sir. Generations.
Can you tell the jurors, prior to social media, recent kind of explosions, how were gangs and the things that they did and do advertised?
Yeah, so it's always out in public. It's like graffiti and stuff like that. That's how you used to be able to identify territory. When it was all about neighborhoods, it was, standing on the corner, wearing the flags, wearing the bandanas, the clothing attire, the way that speech was used during face-to-face engagement. Really, we haven't seen the shift to the digital world until really in the last 20 years, where you started having Facebook and then Instagram and all these other social media sites. And the reason that shift kind of happened is because you can get more eyes in the digital world, as opposed to how many people drive by a street corner a day compared to how many people can see a social media post. You can reach, potentially, depending on popularity, millions of individuals can see your, whatever it is on social media, as opposed to individuals that may necessarily only see, oh, here's a tagging on this street corner claiming this territory.
And can you tell the jurors, being at, it's been, framed or categorized as being a block party, where there are a number of people at the block party carrying a high-powered velocity rifle, a way to be, while wearing a shirt that shows or says 700 block or says Pyro on it. Is that a way of being, showing the people around you your visibility and your membership and association with the gang?
Oh, absolutely it is.
And is it a way in which to assert your dominance in that situation, like the one that occurred on July 4th, 2020?
Yes, it's essentially wearing a uniform and wearing the equipment and the attire to demonstrate your capacity to engage in violent behavior if needed or called upon.
And can you tell the jurors, as it relates to this visibility area, can you tell the jurors after disrespect, like not stopping at the blockade or the barricade here, and then shooting rounds into a vehicle, how that is a way of exuding or
Yeah, so I mean, it's something that occurred on a public street. You're going to have the word of mouth that's going to get around about what happened for folks that may not have been there. They're going to hear about the shooting, whether that be from individuals who were inside the vehicles that said, "Holy cow, I drove around here, and this is what happened to me," or people see the vehicle, or they hear about it on the news or anything like that. And when that type of word gets around that, hey, if you don't listen to these guys, if you don't do what they tell you to do, this is what's going to happen to you. So that type of reaction to not following the direction and the orders of these individuals who are out here with these guns and this blockade and whatnot, there's a direct correlation between, by engaging in that type of immediate conduct against people that oppose their authority on that scene, has immediate repercussions.
Can you tell the jurors, is social media the only means or way through advancing technology to exude or show this highly visible assertion of dominance and power as it relates to a gang, specifically here, Fire the Blood?
No, it's not the only way. I mean, it's certainly a powerful means to convey information, but it's certainly not the only way.
You talked about the news. Is the news another powerful, far-reaching way to advertise for free your dominance and your association with specific gangs?
Oh, absolutely.
And can you tell the jury, based on the information that you reviewed and spoke yesterday about seeing things on the news, did this incident, did the murder of Secoriea Turner get national news?
Yes, it did.
And through your review, did you see the bolo or of the defendant wearing a red Pyru shirt that was released on the national news?
Yes, I remember seeing the news article myself.
Can you tell the jurors how that is a form of highly visible, free advertising for this gang, this defendant, and the violent acts that he committed?
Yeah, so it increases the notoriety not only of the individual, but also while they're wearing that, for lack of a better term, uniform representing the gang out there, it increases the notoriety of the gang at a national level as well.
Would you agree that that reaches farther than any social media posting with the defendant's however many followers?
It can, yes, sir.
Now, I want to play you a video that we watched yesterday. And this is a video that's referenced in your report as well. You found it states it was 153.
I really don't play, nigga, keep a gun. I keep a Glock G-locked in my back pocket.
Can you tell the jurors, did you hear where the defendant said he keeps the gun G-locked in his back pocket?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
It just means having it tucked away back behind your back.
Pocket rocket, let it pop it, let it go berserk.
Did you see the sign where the defendant was wiping his nose, said that let it go berserk as he's talking about his gun?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jurors, based on your training and experience, what does that mean?
So let it go berserk is basically shooting off a lot of ammunition from the weapon, just letting it go, letting the trigger go on it, and then the hand sign is a reference to slime. You're so slimy. You've got the snot dripping out of your nose, and you're wiping it away. So you see that hand sign and gesture used a lot to represent individuals associated with the Bloods, particularly from Atlanta.
Stains on my shooting on my t-shirt.
Did you hear the part where he said, stains from the shooting on my t-shirt?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain the significance of that line as it relates to this video and this defendant's advertising and bragging about shootings and stains?
So stains from the shooting on my t-shirt, it's a little bit of a double entendre. It means the stains that I'm so close to the action that I'm actually getting the blood on me, but also it's a reference to stain, like because I'm doing this, I'm getting that stain. I'm acquiring more stain, more reputation for my status within the gang.
Is that a means or a way of increasing one's status or maintaining one's status in specifically this game, Fiery Bloods?
Certainly.
Is that what we just watched in States 123? Is that a way of bragging about your status increasing and being maintained?
Yes.
All due while doing violent acts?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm looking at it. I don't have any further questions.
This will be real quick. The state just showed you a video where you're saying because teenage Mr. Conley was rapping on social media, that that's a way for him to increase his stain, correct?
It is a way to make claims to increase that stain. Yes, sir.
That's perfect. So I asked you, can you show the jury some piece of evidence that you have that he increased his stain because of what he's being charged with? Now, you showed us where he could possibly increase his stain from a teenage rap video. Can you show this jury where he actually increased his stain from the acts that he's being charged with from July 4th, 2020?
I would once again reference to the video of the shooting, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
I just have one. Is getting national news where you've asserted your dominance as it relates to a specific area in solidarity to one of your gang members who was killed, and then doing violent acts that are then nationally televised, a way of highly visible advertising?
Yes.
Is a way in which it's free advertising to increase your status as it relates to the violent acts that were committed?
Yes.
And is that an example that Mr. Hoover just referenced?
Yes.
Thank you.
Again, we can talk about that as much as we want to. Can you show the jury that it actually happened? It's possible, yes. Did it happen here with Mr. Conley? Can you show us that?
I believe that the investigation concluded that Mr. Conley was responsible for the shooting. Yes, sir.
Can you put something in front of the jury that shows us that specifically to Mr. Conley? Yes or no?
I don't have the video directly in front of me to display, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is the national news an example of exactly what Mr. Hoover's asking for?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Is the national news in front of the jury right now?
No.
Is it evidence in this case right now?
I don't know.
No further questions.
No further questions, please.
Yes, Your Honor, no objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, at this time, the state of Georgia rests.
We'll have some housekeeping.
All right, to the jury. Or if there are, Mr. Hooper will first address the gang charge, we'll move on to the non-gang charges after. Turn it straight for now. It's not. It was broadcasting us. Thank you.
All right, one moment. I was not expecting to be up here right now. So, Your Honor, in the indictment, Mr. Conley is being charged with violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act and counts 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now, regarding Now, when it comes to the Street Gang Act in the state of Georgia, it's a little different than the other crimes and charges that a person could be facing. And I say that because what the state has to prove varies on what part of the statute that the state charges under. So obviously for the entire statute, one thing the state has to prove is that a gang exists. We got the Wikipedia version of, yes, the Bloods have been in existence. Yes, they were created because of the Crips. We never said the Bloods didn't exist. Yes, the state proved that the Bloods existed. When we move to the next point is that Mr. Conley is a member or an associate of the Bloods, that's where things get a little fuzzy. And I believe the witness, Mr. Coleman, that testified kind of figured that out because he completely abandoned membership and went straight to, well, I know he's an associate. I only have to prove he's an associate. He did that because we all know that's how they're trained to do when they can't put any type of association to it. So we agree that, well, let me back up. We agree that he did say there's an association. However, Your Honor, when we get further into my argument, I hope it's more clear why I don't believe they properly address that element in the statute. The third one is that some type of act happened, and that act falls under street gang activity. Now, that's an interesting one, Your Honor. I will admit for the record that Mr. Conley is also being charged with murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, criminal damage to property, and possession of firearms or commission of the felony. Point one, I admit that those acts do fall under that statute, that they could be gang activity. But because I have to go into the nexus argument, I'm arguing that they didn't prove that simply because those acts fall under there, that there was actually gang activity. Does that make sense so far? Yes. Okay. Now, I would like to first quote Rodriguez v. State. That's 284 Georgia 803. That's a 2009 case. And that case takes the position that the commission of an enumerated offense by a defendant is not in itself sufficient to prove the existence of criminal street gang activity. And in no way am I saying that we agree that Mr. Conley committed these crimes. What I'm saying is the crimes that Mr. Conley is charged with, simply because they were committed, doesn't automatically mean that it was street gang activity or a street gang actually did it in furtherance of. That's why I always start with Rodriguez v. State. Now, what we heard, well, let's start with subsection A. Subsection A deals with the conduct or participation, simply basically what we were talking about, but it's in furtherance of the gang. Now, what Mr. Coleman did is he got up here and he gave us a generic history about the Bloods. I mean, anyone with Netflix could literally do the exact same thing. He didn't add any specific or extra information that I believe an expert witness should be able to provide to somebody, especially in Atlanta, especially since the Bloods have literally been on TV, more so for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office than for Mr. Conley or anything else in the last couple of years. So, yes, he talked about the Bloods. When we get to the point to where everything that Mr. Coleman said was, well, this is what Bloods do. This is how Bloods act. Well, this is what could happen. This is possible. He never once said this happened in this case. So in regards to retaliation, Mr. Coleman did say, yes, people do this for some type of retaliation. And at the end there, the state and Mr. Coleman, it kind of sounded like they were hinting at that Rashard Brooks was a Blood, and all of this occurred because the Bloods were doing something for retaliation. It kind of sounded like they were headed down that path. So I just need to head that off now. There's been no testimony of that whatsoever. That is completely untrue, so they didn't fix that part. Mr. Coleman spoke about the power and the respect because it's in this public area. Well, Your Honor, any shooting in public is public. It takes more than that to show that the Bloods, and not even the Bloods, but Mr. Conley, through the Bloods, got some type of power or some type of increase. At the point where I asked specific questions about whether or not this was done in a way to where he could show us that the Bloods were claiming responsibility for it, his response was, well, that's how it happens when people are out there and they're shooting weapons and they have red on. Well, that's how it happens. And we agree. In the last 60 or 70 years, it has happened like that before. But the point I was trying to make, the specific questions I was asking was, did it happen here, and show us evidence that happens here? His responses were always, well, it's possible, and then it's, well, it doesn't happen all the time. But that's not the point. The Bloods as a whole aren't on trial right now. This is the state of Georgia against Mr. Conley, and my specific questions were, can you tell that because of what they're claiming Mr. Conley did, the Bloods claim responsibility, other members claim responsibility, other members suggested that it was for intimidation? Mr. Coleman, he couldn't do it. But instead of just saying, no, I can't, he did the little circle that officers always do, is, well, this is how it always happens. That's why I asked specific questions when it came to this specific case and these specific circumstances and this specific defendant. Another question I asked was, since it was such a highly visible manner, show us evidence where some of the witnesses were like, well, yes, we know it's Pyru, yes, we know it's the Bloods. He couldn't do that, Your Honor, and we know from all of the testimony, that was never said. Not one single person said that the person in red shirt and white lettering was the shooter. Not one single person said the person that was dressed as a Blood, like Mr. Coleman said, the Blood uniform was the shooter. Not one person that witnessed the event, the one person that was out there, period, said that the person that was Pyru was Blood. So the simple fact that a shooting happened, and a simple fact that that shooting falls under the statute, and a simple fact that Mr. Conley was wearing red, it wasn't to the point where it was highly visible where anyone said, I know it was the Pyru because of what he was wearing. That goes for the witnesses, and that goes for all of the victims as well. I believe the McCords, they never once said that the person in the red shirt with the Blood uniform was the person that committed the crimes against them. And then Ms. Turner and the driver, they never once said red either. They always said black. They always said something completely different. They never once said, so I don't believe the state went to the point to prove that this was done in such a highly visible manner that they knew the Bloods were the ones that were doing it or Pyru were the ones that were doing it. We heard more about bounty hunters and the Buck 12, I don't give a NFAC. We heard more about them. We didn't hear about the Bloods at all. The only ones that brought up the Bloods were officers after the DA's office requested GBI to come in to look for gang evidence. So that's why the highly visible part, even if it was done outside, yes, all of them are done outside, but there has to be that extra step. Was not done here. There's no evidence that the Bloods did this for intimidation and other people actually knew they did it or they're actually intimidated by it, and no one ever claimed responsibility for it. Now, in regards to counts 10 and 18, they deal with subsection B, which is obtain or earn membership or maintain or increase status or position. And this is where I do believe that they showed that the gang exists, but Mr. Coleman pretty much tapped around any type of answer as to what he actually knows. We know for a fact there was no evidence presented that Julian Conley's status increased because of this shooting. There's no evidence presented that Julian Conley got some type of proceeds or some type of benefit, some type of property or anything because of this shooting. There's no evidence whatsoever that Julian Conley got more power in the Bloods, Pyru, the neighborhood, or anything because of this shooting. Yes.
Do they have to actually get that? Or is it just the intent to get that?
Well, both ways. Number one, I believe the statute contemplates that it has to be done. Just because it can be done, just because it has been done in the past, doesn't mean that it's general. I think they have to, and at the very least, they haven't shown the intent. They haven't shown that Mr. Conley and a bunch of other people took over an area with the sole basis of him getting or increasing his power or his status. Just because Bloods have done that in the past means absolutely nothing if they can't apply it to the specific circumstances in the specific case. 1 second. So again, every time Mr. Coleman would talk about status or talk about getting stained up, he always talked in generals, like it generally happens. This is how I've been trained to know it happens. But when asked specific questions about how can we say it happened here, other than the fact that Julian Conley was down in the area at the time, he didn't have an answer. And the generic answer he gave most of the time was, well, I think the video shows it. I didn't see how he got more power or control in that video after this shooting happened. Before, during, or after. I do want to bring the court's attention to another case. Actually, it's encompassed under the one I gave you, so they quoted it, so we're good on that.
Okay, it's encompassed under Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
The next, so we're still in subsection B. I still don't believe that the state has reached the burden to prove the status, the increase, the maintain, or anything like that. At the very least, the state didn't even show that whatever association Mr. Conley had before the events happened on July 4th, 2020, even remained the same. And when I say that by saying, it's clear Mr. Conley posted, or he was a teenager. I mean, he used social media like most teenagers do. There were thousands of pictures. There were hundreds of videos. There were text messages. There were group chats. The state had all of that evidence and information, and none of that came in because none of it showed anything changed. I'm sorry, Julie. This was a stupid kid that was posting stupid stuff on social media, but it never showed that his status or his association with the Bloods, with Pyru, or anyone else ever changed. At the point, Your Honor, to where the state couldn't even give us a name of other associates that were either under him, above him, or actually with him. He was a stupid kid posting stupid stuff on social media, trying to be a rapper like literally 98% of my clients do right now. They didn't even prove that there was even the same between before it happened and after it happened, so we don't believe they've met the nexus when it comes to subsection B. The last subsection is, the last counts 11, 12, 19, and 20, and that falls under subsection E. Surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, I'm impressed that the state only charged with the encouraged section of it and not all of it. That says a lot. Now, in regards to encouragement, that's why I had to do that timeline to walk Mr. Coleman through it. So we start anytime before July 4th, 2020. There was no evidence whatsoever that Mr. Julian was around any other person that was at the scene the night of the shooting. There are no text messages, there are no phone calls, there are no pictures. They weren't staying together, they weren't hanging out together, they weren't playing video games together, they're not in rap videos together, none whatsoever. Leading up to the day of July 4th, 2020, there's no evidence whatsoever that he was with any of them that morning of. They didn't have conversations about doing anything. There was no common interest or common knowledge of Julian coming up to tell people, hey, let's go ahead and take care of this. He didn't encourage anybody to do anything leading up to the event. So then we get to the actual event itself, the shooting on the evening of July 4th, 2020. Now what Mr. Coleman suggests, he didn't actually prove it. I think he just suggests that because Julian was there with other people and he had a gun, well, that encourages other people. That's kind of circular logic, Your Honor. Because he was there, because he had a gun, and because other people did something, that means he encouraged them by just being there. That doesn't quite add up in my book, Your Honor. For an example, Mr. Coleman tried to say that he could show that Julian was encouraging or leading, actually, because the guy in the black at the MARTA bus stop, or the MARTA surveillance, looked at him for something. That's not true at all. We saw the video, and the guy that was dressed in all black, he actually was the one that was in control of everything. He's the one that actually said, oh no, he told the driver, oh no, you're good, you're part of the community, you can come through. And then he shirt in a wheelchair, he actually helped him, escorted him onto the bus. Julian didn't encourage anybody. He didn't provide weapons, he didn't provide transportation, he didn't provide ammo. Clearly, Julian has ammo because he's been arrested with a lot of it. He didn't do any of that. There's no evidence whatsoever that he formed a common intent or a common goal with anyone during this incident that happened. And finally, afterwards, Your Honor, again, he posted, I mean, there's nothing. There's no communications about it with everyone else. There were no meetups with everyone else. There was no, there's absolutely nothing. It was like radio silence afterwards. And it's because there was no group thought. There was no group intent with all of this. He didn't encourage anyone with all of this. I know the court's aware, simply because you're a gang member or a gang associate and you commit a crime, that doesn't make it gang activity. Simply because you're around other people that may or may not be gang members or gang associates, and they commit a crime, it doesn't mean that it's automatically gang activity and you're a part of it. Because of the way the statute is written, the state has to prove the actual gang exists, Julian was a member or an associate of the gang, the activity that he's being charged with falls under the statute, and the nexus ties it to the gang itself. Because it's possible that media attention about the shooting of, the shooting and killing of a little girl reaches a lot of people, yes, that's possible. But did it further the blood, specifically the Pyrus or Mr. Conley in this case? And there's no evidence of that whatsoever. The state showed a video of him doing a pretty bad rap, and that's possible that he could have got some type of benefit from that. I agree, he possibly could have, but he's not being charged with that video. He's being charged with these acts. At the point where I do not believe the state met their burden when it comes to the nexus, especially in regard to, say the charges, murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, criminal damage to property, or possession of firearm during the commission of a felony. I do believe that it's not enough for them to get one or two of the elements for this to go to the jury. There has to be evidence of all four of the elements, and it's possible, or that could be, or that's happened in the last 60 years that I know of. I don't believe that's enough, Your Honor, and for those reasons, we believe that counts 9, 17, 10, 18, 11, 12, 19, and 20 should not go to the jury.
Okay, thank you.
Morning, Ron. I'm going to briefly address the non-gang charges of the indictment. And we're asking again that those charges that the court grant a directed verdict of acquittal in those charges. What you have here in this case is not a case where the identifications are inconsistent, but you don't have enough evidence to send this case to the jury because the identifications of the person who actually committed this crime, they are all consistent, and they all consistently say that it wasn't Julian. What the identifications say is that there was a person, and as the state indicated in its own opening, that Julian was wearing a distinctive red shirt. Well, distinctive, that word does a lot of work. It should at least. It should mean that you stand out. It should mean that people see you and people notice you and people recognize you and people remember you. It should mean something. But what you have in this case, and essentially there are 4 people that we will call as eyewitnesses in this case. You have Mr. McCord, and Mr. McCord never once mentions the distinctive red shirt that the state indicated that Mr. Conley had on. You have Ms. Conley. She never mentions again the distinctive red shirt that the defendant had on. And a bit of irony aside, she was wearing a bright red outfit herself. At no point did she ever mention someone doing anything in that distinctive red shirt. In fact, when you listen to Mr. McCord, what he talks about is a dark-skinned person who was there, and he talks about a lighter-skinned person with a shotgun. Now, apparently, there's a huge distinction between shotguns and rifles, about which I'm not familiar, but there is a distinction. And nobody ever indicated or testified, no witness ever testified that Mr. Conley ever on that July 4th day had a shotgun. So the McCords aside, moving on to Ms. Turner and Mr. Ivory. Once again, their descriptions are consistent, and they are consistently not Mr. Conley. What you have Ms. Turner saying was that the shooter or shooters had on black. One person had on all black, dressed like we've heard cop, we've heard bounty hunter, but one person had on all black and a mask, and another person had on black pants and a t-shirt, I believe, or wife beater or undershirt type shirt is what that person has been described. And once again, going back to that distinctive red shirt the state talked about in its opening, no, Ms. Turner never mentioned anyone in a red distinctive shirt with white lettering on the back or red at all. Now, as far as Mr. Ivory, what he testified to, same thing. He talked about the shooters wearing black, and his testimony was even about a photograph he brought in with 2 people circled. One person was taller and darker with a beard, and the other person was shorter and lighter. But again, neither of those people were Mr. Conley. So this is not a case where there is no identification, which should get to the jury, I guess, or a case where one witness said it was a defendant, another witness said it was a different defendant, so you have inconsistent identifications. In this case, you have consistent identifications, and they all say it was somebody other than Mr. Conley. So based on the consistent identifications, inconsistent with Mr. Conley on all remaining counts, and I stand and I adopt everything that was previously said by Mr. Hoover, I ask that the remaining counts be dismissed as well, Your Honor.
Thank you.
morning, Judge.
Good morning.
As the court is more than aware, when looking at a directed verdict, the court is to look at the evidence in the light most favorable to the non-moving party, here obviously the state. And based on the totality of the evidence, the circumstances of all the testimony that has occurred and has come through eyewitness testimony and expert testimony, there's more than enough evidence for all counts as it relates to this defendant to proceed for the jury to make a conclusion or a decision as it relates to the state meeting its burden of beyond a reasonable doubt as it relates to each count in the indictment. I'd start with the gang counts that defense counsel first referenced for the court. I don't know if we were in the same place at the same time, but it's clear that this defendant is a member of the Piru Bloods, not only through his associations and activities and videos, which his entire Instagram account in its entirety was admitted into evidence over no objection as it relates to this defendant. And as referenced by Investigator Coleman, the hundreds and hundreds of videos and photographs that he saw where this defendant was claiming his involvement in the gang, not to mention his own autobiography where he admits that he is a Piru Blood gang member. He literally says, before I was a Piru, I was a G-Shine member. He outlines his entire gang membership from when he first lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and then into Compton, and then how he brought the principles of his gang here to bang throughout the city of Atlanta, I think were his exact words. So as it relates to his membership, not only association, but membership, his own words show that he is a member of the Piru Bloods and has been a member of the Piru Bloods for as long as he can remember. It seems as if from when he was a teenager till now, in his activities that Your Honor saw and the evidence showed that he's still repping in the Fulton County Jail. As it relates to subsection B, the statute itself says that it is the intent that is what is relevant, not actual showings as defense counsel referenced. It's just the intent as it relates to that count. I'd further, I guess, bring to the court's attention that B doesn't require the specific nexus like subsection A does. It's strictly the commission of the act plus the gang intent, which is the wording or the language of the statute. I'd also submit to the court that an armed individual, this defendant, with other members of his gang, wearing not only gang colors, but gang paraphernalia written on the back of his shirt. You heard all about what 700 block of Elm Street means, that he's got Piru written on the back of his shirt, while enforcing a barricade and a force, I guess a show of force and authority in honor of a fallen gang member. And yesterday I was pretty clear through, I believe it was State's Exhibits 58 through 62, that Mr. Brooks was being honored as a member of the Piru Bloods based on how he was referenced, the reference to Piru, I think it said Piru Love as well, spray painted on the Wendy's and in the area. So honoring a fallen gang member, how that doesn't encourage other gang members is I guess, a mystery to me as it relates to that count, Your Honor. I know Your Honor watched the videos where this defendant is directing not only Mr. McKinney but others, and with his circumstantially body language, he's pointing, things of that nature, and Mr. McKinney goes running. Specifically, goes running after the McCords, after the defendant points to where the McCords go. After the shooting, the defendant is doing the same thing as it relates to Mr. McKinney. You see Mr. McKinney run after the car being driven by Mr. Omar Ivory in an attempt to get Secoriea to the hospital for life-saving measures. How that's not encouraging, I'm in directing as the statute requires, again, is a mystery to me. As it relates to the remaining counts in the indictment, I think the evidence is more than clear and more than enough for all counts, the remaining counts, to go to the jury. Defense counsel referenced or talked about identification and consistent misidentification and things of that nature. Well, the consistent identification in this case is the video evidence. So regardless of what other witnesses who were traumatized and were attempting to save their 8-year-old little girl, the video itself, which has been shown from every angle, the testimony of Detective Shepard as it relates to how he was able to track this defendant because of his distinctive clothing. And let's not forget this defendant's own statement where he admitted that the person in the distinctive clothing was him. So I'm not sure how we can ignore that as it relates to a consistent identification. And a legal principle we all seem to be kind of neglecting to recognize is the whole parties to a crime statute. Whether the jury believes this defendant actually was the individual who shot the gun that caused the bullet to enter Secoriea Turner is irrelevant as it relates to parties to a crime. It's clear he was manning and participating and enforcing the authority of his gang on July 4th of 2020. It is clear from the video that he was one of the individuals that was down at the barricade at the time that Secoriea and Omar and Ms. Turner drove past the barricade in a form of disrespect. And we know that the defendant took this as disrespect because the McCords told you, Mr. McCord told you that the individual dressed in red that he saw on the news conference was the individual who said that he was acting disrespectful and one of the individuals that pointed a long gun in his face. So it's lost on me how there's not more than enough direct and circumstantial evidence for the jury to get all counts of the indictment, Your Honor.
Will you talk to me about the charges based on Subpart E of the gang statute?
Yes. So let me just make sure I pull up the correct counts, Your Honor. So yes, Your Honor. As it relates to Subpart E specifically, we'd be looking at the first two counts would be counts 11 and 12. That the state would, I guess, submit to the court that the encouragement to participate in this illegal barricade, the encouragement that was shown in the direction that was being done by this defendant to individuals like Mr. McKinney, was that encouragement is what led to all of the acts that are referenced in the remaining counts of the indictment. Without that encouragement, we wouldn't be here today as it relates to the shooting that eventually arose in regards to Secoriea Turner, as well as the show of force and the aggravated assaults that were committed against the McCords, and the activity that we specifically saw Mr. McKinney, Mr. Connolly's named co-defendant, his reaction and behaviors as it relates to after this defendant was disrespected, after this defendant communicated to Mr. McCord that he had disrespected him, and after this defendant pointed firearms, a long gun, as described by Mr. McCord, you see the direction, the encouragement that is being provided by this defendant to Mr. McKinney and the other unnamed individuals who all run after the McCords, point firearms at the McCords, committing the very same acts of aggravated assault against Mr. and Mrs. McCord, as well as in the same instances relates to Ms. Turner, Ms. Charmaine, as well as Mr. Ivory, Your Honor.
So does that code section, Subpart E, does that encompass encouraging other gang members to commit acts, or is it just a recruitment subsection?
So what I would say that it encompasses both of the things referenced by the court as it relates to ways to prove the encouragement Your Honor just described.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna take a minute and step off the bench. I'll be back.
Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am.
Visit that intersection in the summer of 2020.
Yes, ma'am. I was out there the whole summer almost.
What was the reason that you were out there?
Well, there were protests already going on in the city due to what happened to George Floyd, the brutal murder of George Floyd. And so I was already outside basically protesting. And in the midst of that, Rayshard Brooks was killed at the Wendy's on University Avenue. I'm okay. Thank you.
And you said you were out there most of the summer.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you leave and come back?
Yes, I did. I used to leave and go home and take a bath and change my clothes and come back out. So we started the day after the shooting. The protest kind of migrated from downtown over to that area, and we stayed the whole summer till about July, I think, 17th, 16th, 17th.
When you say the whole summer, can you estimate what month you started?
We started in June, the day after the killing of Rayshard Brooks. The very next day, the day that the Wendy's got caught on fire.
And so you said that you went home to take a bath. How did you prepare to stay out at that intersection?
I don't think that I prepared at all. So we didn't have any, we had tents, we had cots. Some people had brought out their cots and tents, so we had coolers, grills, but I didn't prepare for it. It just happened.
Were there any, you said that people had tents, were there any other comforts or anything while you were out there?
After a while, after we had been out there for some weeks, we had some people come out there and install a toilet, so we had a bathroom out there. The 4th of July, we were getting 2 showers installed. We had a garden, and tents, cots, coolers, grills.
And were you out there, when you were out there, can you estimate how many people you think were out there when you were there?
Well, on a daily basis, it changed. People came from everywhere. So the people that were there on a daily basis, that was there every day, maybe 20. But every day it was many people who came from all over. They said they came from out of town, or hundreds of people would come every day, take pictures, sign the Wendy's, sign the sign that had been taken down, the Wendy's sign that was on the ground.
And you said there were tents. Where were the tents in relation to the Wendy's?
They was right where you come in the front. So there's the driveway here, a little sidewalk, but once you come in, the tents were lined up right there along the side of it, where you would park at if you went to the Wendy's, in the parking lot.
And in terms of traffic, was there traffic coming through that area?
Yeah, so cars could go through on the day of Rayshard Brooks' funeral. They brought his body there, and the hearse, actually, and the rest of the cars in the line for the funeral rode through the Wendy's, went around the back of it, and went back out.
And you said the day of the funeral. Was the traffic steady after that?
No, so we weren't letting people drive through there. So we let the funeral car, because they wanted to bring his body down there, drive through there with the family, drive through there, but cars weren't driving through there on a daily basis, no.
And what was done to stop people from driving through
Just someone was standing there saying you couldn't come in.
So one person in the middle of the street telling you couldn't come
It wasn't in the middle of the street. It would be in the driveway of the Wendy's, and there was a cone or maybe two, but just someone standing there saying, you can't come in, and they would park across the street at the warehouse, or they would park at the BP or at the liquor store and walk down to the Wendy's.
Okay, and you said we weren't letting people through. Can you describe what you meant by that?
Me and the other black people who were down there standing up for Rashard Brooks, who were down there protesting, who had been at the Wendy's since it burnt down and stayed there for all those days afterwards.
And you said it was a protest. What was the purpose of being down there? Like, what were you guys trying to accomplish?
Well, we were going to turn the Wendy's into a peace center. We had been talking to the city council members who had been coming down there, and they were going to actually turn it into a peace center where you could come, get resources. We were already passing out food and giving out clothes and things like that. So we were going to actually be inside of a center and be able to, just a community center place for people in the community. But more than that, it was just that everything that had happened, all the killing with the innocent black people who were being killed by the police, that was the reason why we were down there. And to say, our lives do matter and we shouldn't die like that. So that's what really our cause was. We wanted to see something change from what had happened with Rashard Brooks. It wasn't just, oh, he got killed. We're going to turn our backs to that. So.
And you said with the killing of black people by police, were there police down there while you were down there?
No, there weren't no police. There were no police. I do know one night there was one police. I don't think he was supposed to be down there, but he pulled up at the top. I think it was a barricade there at the time, and he stopped. He parked his car, and everybody's like, "Oh, there go the police, y'all!" Get on alert. But he actually walked down there, and I'm sure he wasn't supposed to be there, but he said he was just coming to check.
It's sustained.
Yeah, he just checked on us.
And you mentioned barricade. Can you describe what you meant by barricade?
So at some point, we had cones in the beginning, but at some point there were yellow cones, like the big yellow cones that you would see if you were doing construction. They were brought there at some point, but we would block one side of the street and have the other side open. So it would be blocking one of the lanes on the side of the street, and you would be able to, or someone would be standing there and you would be able to go up the side of the other side of the street.
So you said cones, but then you kind of made a motion.
There were barricades and cones, both.
Okay. And so just so I'm clear, when you say cone, you mean like the little,
Construction cone, the orange construction cone.
and then the barricade is different from the construction cone.
Right, it's like the long, kind of rectangular shape. I guess it's a road blocker or something, I think. It's what you use when you're doing construction.
And were you there when that cone or the barricade were put out there?
Where in the beginning they were put out there every day, so at some point I'm pretty sure, I saw them put out. I was there when they were put out, or probably even put them out there, so yeah.
And while you were out there, did you know everybody who came out there?
In the beginning, I didn't. In the beginning, it was maybe like 10 people after the fire, and we migrated to the BP, and it was about 10 people. So we stayed out there all night, and the next day, everybody went home and came back. And it was like, okay, we came back, so we're here again, and literally just kept coming back every day. I think one of the people may have been Rashard Brooks' half-sister, and she was there, and yeah, but it was a group of people who had came the first night.
So, in terms of conversation that you had with the individuals out there, did anybody identify themselves to you, like telling you who they were while they were out there?
Yeah, we all knew each other after we had came and met each other and came back the next day. So everybody introduced themselves to each other, and so we knew each other after that.
And so did anybody introduce themselves to you as being related to Richard?
They did. Someone was supposed to be half-sister to him, and she was out there as well. She was there the whole time.
Okay. So the fact that you said that you
not sure if the question is.
So, let me ask you this. You said that you saw somebody who was a police officer. How did you know that person was a police officer?
He had a badge. He got out of a police car, Atlanta police car, and he had a gun, and he had on like all black. I mean, he had on the uniform.
And so, you also mentioned other people came out and told you who they were. Did anybody else come up to you and identify themselves as being part of the group?
Yes, so we had a few people who came out there, said they were city councilmen members, 4 of them actually. They were part of the city council members.
So I want to direct your attention to July 4th.
Okay.
Were you at that location on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And you know how long you were out there?
All day.
So all day, starting from,
I slept out there the night before. I got up that morning, I went home, changed my clothes, and came back out there. So all day except for maybe an hour or two, July 4th morning.
and so, did you sleep out there the night of July 4th?
I didn't sleep, but we were out there the night of July 4th, yes, ma'am.
And were you out there around 9 o'clock that night?
I was there all day.
Ever hear about a shooting that happened at that location?
Yes, ma'am, I was there when the shooting happened.
Can you tell the jury what you heard about that shooting?
What I heard,
I'll rephrase, how did you find out about a shooting that happened?
I was there when it happened, and I heard the shots and was looking right at it.
And do you know whether or not, you know who was involved with that shooting?
Involved in what way?
Who the victim was?
Yes, ma'am, I do, and I'm so sorry for her loss. That was not what we was out there for, and that wasn't supposed to happen.
And you said that you saw what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what you saw?
So at that point, the day had been good all day. We had so much stuff going on, but it had got dark. And when the council members came out, they let us know that we were on a list that.
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained.
You can't tell us what somebody told you.
Okay. So alerts were high on that day. We had stopped putting the barricades out in the street. Talking to the city council members, we came to a negotiation that, you know, that's what the issue is. You know, everybody's upset that the barricades are in the street. So if we could stop putting the barricades in the street, and they wanted to come board up the Wendy's. And so we stopped putting the barricades in the street. But that night, the barricades were put back in the street. At the time of the shooting,
Why were the barricades put back in the street that night?
I think for safety, they weren't blocking both lanes. I think it was maybe in the middle at the top and on one side at the back. So it was 2 of them, just blocking where the Wendy's driveway is. And they were put there so, you know, what we heard wouldn't happen is, you know, we would be attacked by the KKK.
Objection,
So
Your Honor. Hearsay.
So the barricades you said were put back in the street because of safety.
yes, for safety.
Okay. And the barricades were in the street, and you were telling us about what you saw.
Yes, so a lot of cars had been coming down to the barricade and had been turning around and going back up, but this car didn't. It kind of paused for a second. I don't know if they had a brief interaction, talked, but kind of went through the barricade, almost hit someone, and once that happened, shots rung out, a lot of shots. I saw someone standing there, a male who I did not know, and I knew most of the people at the Wendy's. Someone who I had not saw before. He was dressed in all black. He had tactical gear on. He had dreadlocks. I can't remember if he had a beard or not, but now that I'm picturing it, I see one. I don't know why. But he had beads, a necklace beads with like black, red, green, and yellow. And he just opened up his gun, like in the car. He moved like from right to left a little bit, like he was in a military, like he had training or something. And he kneeled down a little bit and he was shooting. And as he stopped, the car went on up, and there was another gentleman who was with him, who, I had saw them two together that night. Both of them were at one end of the barricade. He started shooting as well once the car continued up. The car continued up. Everybody was panicking, running around crazy. And they said the car's coming back down. I heard out loud that.
But you can't repeat what anyone else said. So you just tell us what you saw. Noises, you can see that.
Yeah, everybody started taking cover again, and the car started coming back down the street again, and then there were shots again, and the car continued.
And so after that, you said you stayed out there, but you didn't sleep.
Right.
What happened after the car drove away?
Again, everybody was panicking, running around. I was asking everyone, like, what happened? What's going on? What happened? They said somebody.
Tell us what everybody said.
And, it was clear that someone had drove through the barricades and they had shot at the car.
And you were still out there. Were you out there when police came?
Yes, I was.
Did you talk to officers?
Yes,
Do you remember the names of the officers?
I do not. I know that it was a female officer, a little heavy set.
Did you give a
No, she wasn't an officer. She was a detective, I think. She didn't have on a uniform. She had on maybe like a suit or something. So she could have been like an investigator.
And did you only speak to officers or law enforcement one time?
Yeah, one time.
Okay. And the story that you just told us of what you saw, did you relay that to the law enforcement when you spoke with them?
I did. I also told them that they were shooting across the street in the parking lot across the street, and there should be shell casings over there, but no one went over there to go see or pick up the shell case in the parking lot across the street.
And so you're describing people that nobody went over there. You're talking about
The police and
investigators
yeah.
that you spoke to?
No, I'm talking about the police, people who were like out there that were, I guess, picking up stuff from the crime scene. They didn't go in the parking lot across the street where the warehouse was.
So you were still there when people came to pick up shell? Did you see anybody pick up shell cases?
I didn't personally see them, but I'm sure that that's what they were doing because we were talking to like the investigator, the lady, like basically telling her what happened. And, it was still a lot of people out there. A good bit of the people fled, but the people who had been there at the Wendy's the whole time, they were all sitting out there. Literally everybody put their guns away because we knew the police was coming, because before the police arrived, we saw on social media that someone had already got shot in the car before the police even arrived. So we knew the police were coming. Everyone put their, not somebody, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that Secoriea Turner had got shot in the backseat of that car. So we all put our guns away and we waited for the police to come.
So let me ask you, you corrected yourself just now when you were talking about what you found out. Why did you feel the need to apologize?
Because she was somebody, and she wasn't supposed to die that night. We were down there protesting for black people, saying our lives matter, and a black child life was taken, and that wasn't supposed to happen.
Earlier when you told us about being out there,
No, ma'am, I'm good.
when you told us about being out there, you said you stayed out there until mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
What was the reason that you stayed after this tragedy happened?
So unfortunate that she passed away, but what we were out there for still was a cause.
Your Honor, relevance, this goes beyond July 4th, is what we're here to talk about.
You guys come up to the bench for a second.
because we were out there for that cause that we were out there, which was standing up for Black people, and again, to protest that we shouldn't be gunned down like dogs in the street. So that's what we were out there for. And yeah, I didn't want it to be over. I felt like we had a chance because we were communicating with the city council members, and, you know, they were supposedly coming to some type of negotiation that we had a chance for, maybe to make a change.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. So let's start with the things that we possibly can agree with, okay?
Okay.
The very first thing is that Secoriea was innocent, correct?
Yes.
Secoriea was gunned down in a car that was driven on the street, correct?
Yes,
That was not the goal of the protest, correct?
that's correct.
All right. I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 30A. You testified on direct examination that there were some barricades that were put out.
Yes.
But the witness step down here. Can you tell the members of the jury on July 4th where these barricades were?
Here, before you get to the driveway,
Okay.
up the way,
All right.
maybe a little bit, but it was before the driveway, so maybe here, and there was one after the driveway, so right here.
And these were barricades that you guys as citizens set up, correct? No officers set up these barricades. And what was the purpose of setting up these barricades?
At the time, on the July 4th, it was for our safety, to keep cars coming in as they drive immediately close right there to the window so that they would have like, or a turnaround, but they would, if they did come, they wouldn't be able to come right there, they would have to come down that way.
Okay. And there were armed men standing by the barricades, correct? All right. Did you have a gun on this day?
I did.
And what kind of gun did you have? AR-15?
Or AR-22,
AR-22?
yes.
At any point, did you fire your gun?
Not one time,
At any point, did you point your gun at somebody?
I didn't.
And why is that?
Because that wasn't what we were out there for. All the time, we had upset people come to the barricades that were just mad that they were there and they wanted to get through. A lot of people didn't understand what we were out there for, and I would say just let them through, you know, and that's what we were doing most of the time, is just letting people through. If they were just, you know, that upset and didn't want to turn around, they were supposed to let them through.
Okay. Now, you talked about knowledge of the people that were at the barricades throughout this time. You remember that testimony?
Knowledge of them?
People that were there.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever know Julian Conley?
Not before that day, I did not.
Did you ever invite him out there?
I did not.
Is he a part of the community?
I'm sure he is a part of the community,
Okay.
but
Based off of your personal knowledge, is he a part of the community?
the Wendy's community or the city?
The Wendy's community.
He wasn't before that day.
All right. And what organization were you associated with?
I'm associated with Take Back Atlanta. It's a nonprofit organization that is founded by myself and my wife to stop gentrification in the city.
And how did you know to report to the Wendy's at a certain time, or that these protests?
It was no time to report. We just all migrated there in the midst of the protests and kept coming back every day. So if you would go home, no one had to tell you to come back. You just knew we was coming back the next day.
Okay. Were there like group chats?
No, not one.
Okay. Now, you also testified that you guys, and I quote, weren't letting people drive through. Is that fair? That's what you said on direct?
Weren't letting people drive through the Wendy's?
Correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
What authority did you have to stop people from driving through the Wendy's?
I felt like I had the authority to stand up for Rashard Brooks' life because his life mattered. And so I felt like what I was doing out there was a cause and we could stop these cars from coming in here. That's what authority I had.
Are you post-certified?
No,
Have you ever had the ability to arrest or anything that normally comes along with being a police officer?
no.
Now, let's talk about the car, the Jeep.
Okay.
When the Jeep comes down, where are you standing at that moment?
The first time or the second time?
The first time. Let's talk about the first time.
I was standing in the parking lot of the Wendy's.
You're standing in the parking lot.
Yes.
Go back. I'm gonna just approach.
Okay.
Can you tell me where you were standing?
I was standing right in the driveway area, so I was standing.
Yep. That was your job.
Driveway right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was standing right in there.
Okay.
Inside the driveway.
Inside of the driveway. Was there a white van that was in this driveway?
I think that there was.
Okay. And was that white van blocking your view?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. So when the Jeep comes down the first time, tell the members of the jury what happened again?
I think there was a brief pause
Okay.
before it continued. I'm not sure if they were talking or they spoke, but there was a brief pause, and then the car continued through the barricade. I think somebody kind of got sideswiped.
Okay. So let's pause right there. You said that the car continued through the barricade?
I mean, continued through the block, so it didn't actually hit the barricade. It kind of like swerved around the barricade.
You would agree with me that the car tried to maneuver around the barricade, correct?
Yeah, it definitely tried to go around. It didn't hit the barricade. It didn't smash into the barricade.
All right. So once the car maneuvers around the barricade, what happens next?
So I heard the guy who was there scream out like, "Oh, like oi, oi," or something like that, and shooting rang out. It was shooting.
Right. So you heard somebody scream out something.
Yeah, like to I guess notify that they coming through or something. He said, yeah.
What was the position of the windows as this Jeep was coming through?
In the beginning, I couldn't tell what was the windows. The windows were up. It was dark, so it looked like they could have been rolled up on this side that I was on, which would have been the driver's side.
So there's a scream, the Jeep comes around, and you hear what?
Objection, Your Honor. Ask and answer.
I have on cross, Your Honor.
You do. Just don't go into any hearsay.
I won't.
Okay.
What happens as the Jeep goes around the barricades? What happens next?
It started shooting. Start.
All right. Can you tell the members of the jury what was the cadence of the shooting?
The cadence. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Was it like
Your Honor, speculation.
she was there, Your Honor? She has personal knowledge. She said that she was at the Wendy's in the parking lot.
You can ask her if she knows.
Okay. Do you know what the cadence of the shooting was like?
The beat of it,
Yes.
continuously.
Okay.
It was
So-
continuously, continuous fire. It didn't stop. It was like it just continued.
Okay. And you're familiar with firearms? You had a firearm?
I do. I am, and I'm licensed to carry, and I've taken classes on firearms. And yes,
And the cadence of the shooting, would you say that that's consistent with somebody shooting from a AR-15?
I would say that that's consistent with a lot of shooting going on at the time.
Okay.
A lot.
Now, let's go back. Jeep comes around, you hear the cadence as you described as rapid. Blah, 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 blah. What happens next?
Again, everybody's running around. Once, do you want to know after it went up the street?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it continued on up the street. This person in all black, the guy with the dreadlocks, was moving again in tactical, kind of like he knew what he was doing.
Okay.
And he was shooting, kind of kneeled a little bit. He was shooting, and then the car continued up, and then there were more shooting from this barricade here, which was another gentleman. He was dressed in all black.
You would agree with me that because you fired a weapon before, you're familiar with the muzzle flash?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 2. We're going to look at the University Camera 3, and we're going to start at 9:40. We'll start at 9:46. And while we're queuing it up, you do know that there's video of this incident, correct?
Right.
And when was the last time you had an opportunity to watch this video?
I saw this video in 2021.
2021?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to start it at 9:45:50. Now, as we watch this video, I want you to tell me at what point the person standing at the back barricades fires their weapon.
The video stopped. They're firing it now. They're firing it now behind the barricade. They're firing it when they ducked down right here, and when they went around the other side, as it was continuing on past, that's when they're firing it.
Pause it. What is the position of the person who you believe to be firing the weapon at this particular moment?
It's kind of squatting down a little bit.
You can actually touch the screen. You can draw on it. Make an X for the person you think is firing the weapon. Okay? So now
He's not firing it right now.
he's not firing right now.
He's not firing it right now.
You would agree with me that if his back is to the street and he's facing the barricade.
In this picture right now?
Yeah, right now.
No, I don't think so.
What position is he in?
He's squatting down, and he's looking over this barricade at the car coming down.
He's facing the barricade.
Yes.
All right, let's hit the play button.
Now he's squatting.
You would now agree to me that his position has changed, and can you describe to the members of the jury what his position is?
He's kneeled down with his gun pointed.
Let's get rid of this X. Tell me, what direction do you see this person looking?
To me, it looks like he's looking between the barricades, so it looks like he's looking at the car coming up through the barricade.
So at this point that the car reaches this direction, had you heard any shots already?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
So-
a bunch already.
It was a bunch already. So prior to this moment, the car there had already been shots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where are you right now? If we're looking at the Wendy's, where are you? Can you tap the screen and mark the screen with an X where you would be?
I'm in the parking lot here.
Right there.
I don't see me there, but that's where I was standing at. I was in the parking lot.
Okay. So you would agree with me that there's a distance between the barricade and where the area in which you were standing.
What do you mean a
There's
distance?
a distance.
The 3-car distance, possibly, yes.
Okay. And what are you wearing?
I had on A blue Nike jumpsuit and a pink jacket.
And who were you with at this particular point?
Who was I with?
Yes.
What do you mean? I was with the people in the Wendy's parking lot.
Okay. So we're now zooming in. Can you tell me what the people's names were that you were with?
Their nicknames or their government name?
We can start with their government.
There was a Slim, there was Quint, and there was Zoe.
Slim, Quint, and Zoe?
Yeah.
Is that their government?
That's not, I don't know their government.
You don't know their government. Okay. Now that we've zoomed in, can you see yourself in this from this angle?
I can't, no.
No?
No.
All right. Now, you said that you previously testified that the man is in a squatting position, correct?
This one at the top, yes. He's
Okay.
he's not kneeling, but he's in a position to shoot.
Okay. Where is the car at this particular point?
It's approaching, about to pass him.
Is the barricade in between the car and him at this particular point?
It is.
Okay. So, is it fair to say that the car is not in his direct line?
It's not. He's not shooting yet.
Okay.
So it was being shot from the back here while it was coming up here. And as it approached closer to the barricade, this car, it was like a, you could tell that this one clearly stopped, and you could see that this car, it was continuing to get hit as it continued on past the barricade.
And how many shots have you heard at this particular point?
I can't tell you how many. It was too many to count.
Too many?
Too many.
More than 5?
Yeah, more than 10, more than 15. It was shots everywhere. It was just shooting. It was a lot of shooting.
All right, let's hit the play button. Pause it. Did the person's stance just change?
It did. He went into a
What
squat.
did it change to?
He went into a squatting position.
Squatting position?
Looked like squatting, yeah.
Okay. And where's that firearm that you see? Where's the firearm now?
Can't really tell.
Okay. We're gonna hit the play button. Pause it. Right.
That's when this person started shooting in the car. That's when I saw this person at the top. I'm sorry. Yeah, so once this car got here and he goes around the barricade, that's what he did. He went around the barricade and started shooting at the car.
Who started shooting?
This person in the squatting position here.
Okay. So let's pause it frame by frame. Pause. You would agree with right. You would agree with me that his back is now, the barricades is right here, and now he's facing this way. If we're looking at it.
Absolutely not. He just went in a crawling position around the barricade, and now he's facing the car. He's facing the car.
For demonstrative purposes, I'm going to take this chair, and this chair is going to be our barricade. All right? You would agree with me that this is similar to the barricade?
Not at all, but okay.
I understand. You would agree. The very first time we stopped it, he was here, right?
You'll have to get on this side so I can, this side, yeah, this side so I can see. At the beginning, he was in the front in a squatting position there.
Here?
Yeah.
Where does he go next?
He go around the barricade.
Around it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happens?
I mean, it's thin, so he's instantly around it once he, I'm sorry, came out of that crawling position. He's instantly around it, and he's shooting at the car.
Okay. Which way do you see him facing right now?
I don't see him.
And where do you see the car at?
It's passing it,
Passing what?
the barricade.
All right. And pause it. Where do you see him now?
It looked like he's looking over the top of the barricade.
Is he completely behind the barricade?
Yes.
Where's the car?
It's passing the barricade.
Play. Pause. Where is he now?
He's behind the barricade.
Where's the car?
It's up the street.
Prior to this particular point, can you tell the members of the jury where he has had a clear shot on this car at?
He had a clear shot on it when it was right there passing him on the other side of the barricade. He had a clear shot. That's when he was shooting at it, when he went around the barricade and it was coming right here past the cones.
Okay. You said that you had experience in muzzle flashes. You know what a muzzle flash look like?
Yeah.
Did you see any muzzle flashes come from here?
I wouldn't, because he's on the other side of the barricade.
When he shoots, he's on the other side of the barricade?
He's on the other side of the barricade.
Well, where's the car now that he's on the other side of the barricade?
He was already on the other side of the barricade before the car completely passed him.
Now you said that the car comes back down.
It did.
And what happens once the car comes back down?
They're shooting again.
Who is they?
I said theirs. They're shooting again.
Who is they?
I don't know.
It seems argumentative. The witness said something. She answered the question. She said theirs shooting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said they are shooting. I'm sorry. You said they're shooting again.
Theirs.
Okay, I'm
Theirs
sorry. My apologies.
shooting again.
And where does this shooting come from?
At that point, I saw the car. It was coming back down the street. I knew that they were shooting going up, so I assumed there would be shooting coming back down, and I wasn't really paying attention. I don't recall who was shooting. I don't know.
Let's hit the play button. Actually, let's fast forward it to 9:49. Hold on one second. Can you tell me where the three people are that are shooting at this particular point?
What, 3 people?
The three people you described that were shooting.
Here's one, I guess. I can see somebody here, looks like at the back barricade, and I can't see the front.
You can draw.
And there were 2 people that were shooting.
You can draw, sir.
Is this, I can't tell if that's somebody or not, but he would have probably been behind the barricade still.
Is that one of the people that you saw shooting?
I can't tell who that is.
Is that one of the people you saw shooting?
Objection.
I can't tell who that is.
Your Honor, there's not an answer. I asked, is that one of the people you saw shooting? Her response was, I can't tell. She needs to start, if I can finish.
Go ahead and finish.
She needs to start off with yes or no, and then she can explain from there. But she has to give me a definitive answer to the question.
Okay, I will.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. May I respond?
Yes.
He can't tell her what to say. If he's asking her what her answer is, she gave her answer more than once.
No, what, Your Honor, I'll rephrase. I'm sorry. I'll rephrase. Who did you see shooting?
I saw the 2 men in black.
There's 2 men in black. Can you point out where the 2 men in black are that you saw shooting?
I can't see them in this clip right here.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like one of them here. He just came out a little bit, and he's back behind the barricade where the circle is.
Did you see a muzzle flash come from his gun?
Right then?
At any point? When we just watched the video, did you see a muzzle
No,
flash?
I didn't.
And you would agree
But I
that-
know for sure he was shooting because I saw him shooting.
I'm sorry?
I know for sure that he was shooting because I saw him shooting.
Let's go back. And while we're queuing it up, was this gun you saw, the people shooting before the cars reached the second set of barricades, were those handguns or AR style guns?
I only saw one person shooting. He was in all black tactical gear, and it was a long AR type rifle.
if you can tell us when to pause at the moment you see the muzzle flash come from the second part of the barricades.
This is when he starts shooting at the car, and he's on the other side of the barricade, so you won't be able to see the muzzle flash.
So when he shoots, he's on the other side of the barricade?
That's correct.
Okay. Would it surprise you to learn that there were no shell casings found at that end of the barricade?
It wouldn't.
Why not?
I don't know. Someone could have picked him up, or anything could have happened to him.
Are you speculating?
No, you asked me why wouldn't there be none, and someone could have picked him up. But I know that there was shooting there.
Did you see someone at the back end of this barricade pick up
I did not.
shell casings?
I did not.
You were out there.
I was
that
out
night.
there, but I wasn't standing there watching the barricade the whole time.
Okay. Now, when the car comes back down, can you point out, well, let's erase the screen.
Yes.
Now that we've zoomed out, where were you standing?
I missed what happened. I was erasing the screen.
I'm sorry, it didn't even erase. Where were you standing?
Erase the X?
Yeah. Sorry. Where were you standing?
Where's the car?
No, where were you standing at this time?
I was still in the parking lot.
Show me.
I was still in the parking lot.
Right there. Who was standing with you?
I don't recall. It was 5 years ago.
Okay. And where were the people that you described that was standing around in the area right now?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Do we see people in this area right now?
They're in the parking lot. You
They're
see
in the
somebody
parking lot.
brake light, so clearly someone's there. Looks like somebody's here at this car. It looks like could be at this street right here. And there are people in this parking lot, this warehouse parking lot across the street. But there were people still everywhere in the parking lot. I think at this point, people may have been hiding because the car was coming back down the street and they thought that they were going to be shooting again.
Where are you at? Where are you standing at this particular point?
I'm in the parking lot. I'm definitely hiding because we see that the car is coming back down the street again.
And where are you hiding?
I don't recall, but I'm in the parking lot, the Wendy's parking lot somewhere.
Okay, she answered it now.
You see the people, they're walking, all the people are walking out now. It's a bunch of them, they're walking.
Are you one of those people?
I could very well possibly be.
You don't know what you had.
I was in the parking lot.
Okay.
Now people are leaving.
What are you doing during this moment?
I was walking in the parking lot asking, like, what happened? What's going on? Like, what, why they shoot at the car? They should have just let the car through. Like, what's going on? I was trying to figure out what happened.
So you needed to try to figure out what happened, although you just testified that you saw the car approach the barricade, go around the barricade, and go down the barricade. But
There was absolutely no reason to shoot in the car, though.
We can agree on that. Now, tell me where you see the next set of shots.
I don't see any shots. I heard them.
You heard them.
Yes.
Where did you hear them from?
I heard them out loud.
You heard them out loud?
Yes.
Did they come from the left, right?
I can't recall.
Was it one shot, two shots,
A bunch of shots.
bunch of shots?
Yes.
More than 5?
Maybe around 5 or
Okay.
maybe around 10.
What kind of firearm did they sound like they were coming from?
I wouldn't know what type of firearm it sounded like it was coming from. There were just shots again. And again, there had just been shots. And I know that a bullet doesn't have a name on it. So I'm like, shots again, kind of trying to get out the way and duck, hide behind a car or something.
Okay. You would agree with me that you didn't see any shots come from within that car, did you?
I don't recall.
And we're gonna now play State's Exhibit 2, Camera 2.
You want to get rid of the X?
I'm sorry.
Want to get rid of the X?
Oh yes, please. If you can get rid of that.
You're welcome.
So we're looking at State's Exhibit 2. Can you identify where you would be at this particular point?
You can't see where I'm standing at. It's inside the parking lot.
The side of the parking lot. So where the white car is, you're like further in.
I'm inside the parking lot.
You would agree with me that those individuals are standing on one side of the barricade at this particular point before the car comes down, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some people standing there.
And you were, I'm sorry,
Yes, there are some people standing there. Sorry.
and you were out there every single day, right?
I'm correct.
Who were those people?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
The person in the black, I had never seen him before. That was his first time there. Didn't know his name. Or the other person with the all black on the other end. Never saw him before, and I couldn't tell you his name.
So at this particular point, what do you see?
A car
Okay. And what is the car doing?
driving, or it's looked like it went around the barricade.
Okay. And what are the people doing as the car goes around the barricade?
You can't tell.
Are the people still standing on the side of the barricade?
They're still standing there, yes.
Have they approached or advanced towards the car?
Yeah, they're at the car.
Okay. Did you just see those muzzle flashes?
I didn't.
We'll go back.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
I'll have some water.
I do, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
What is that you see right now in State's Exhibit 2?
I see the car. Looks like it's probably hitting their brake lights.
It looks like it's hitting what?
It looks like it could be hitting the brake lights.
Hitting the brake lights.
Like the light is flashing.
Okay. Do you see anything that's bright and yellow that is consistent with a muzzle flash?
Well, I see this light here. It's light.
We'll go back. As a matter of fact, let's go back.
When am I looking for it at?
I'm gonna pause it at that point.
I didn't see it. But I guess you wouldn't see it
Hold on
because,
one second, hold on one second.
okay.
Let's stay here. All right. Touch the screen. I'm gonna circle something that I want to pay your attention to. What is that consistent with?
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay. Would you agree with me that that's a muscle flash?
I can't tell what that is. This looks like a brake light here. That looks like a muzzle flash here.
Show me what
Possibly.
looks like a muzzle flash.
This does here.
Okay.
Look like it could be. I really can't tell because the video is blurry.
What's the difference between? I'm gonna come here. What's the difference between the thing that I circled and what you just circled and identified as a muzzle flash?
I know that the person right here is shooting. This person who had on the black and the car is passing by, I saw him shooting as the car was going by. So I'm assuming that that's a muzzle flash.
Based off of your knowledge and what would you identify?
Objection, Your Honor. She's not an officer.
She has shot firearms. She had a firearm. She's testified that she's had training and that she's familiar with muzzle flashes.
Your Honor, we don't know the extent of whatever training she's had, so we're trying to get her to identify something on an image that she's seeing right now based on her training.
Your Honor,
Certainly her training makes her qualified for this question.
Well, she's self-identified herself as having quite a bit of training with weapons, but what question are you trying to get her to answer?
whether or not that flash that I circled is consistent with the muzzle flash.
It could be. It definitely could be. Both of those could be.
Okay. And if we can back it up. So let's erase the screen. All right. So would you agree with me that everyone that we see in this still shot does not have on all black?
I would not agree. Everybody look like they do have on all black.
All right. Would you agree with me that you see some color coming from that person?
I would not agree.
You will not.
I don't see any color. I just see a look. You can barely tell that it's a person, but it looked like it could be a black shirt.
It looked like it could be a black shirt?
It looked like it could be.
What color do the pants look like they could be?
They're blending in with the street.
All right.
Erase it? Okay.
Now, watch the center of the screen for me.
The center?
Yep.
In the street?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Did you just see another muzzle flash?
I didn't. I was looking at, looked like someone right here, looked like they were picking up possibly shell casings. I didn't see anything down there.
Okay. So look at the person walking straight down the center line. Do you see that light that's highlighting from below that person?
This right here?
You can touch it and draw. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
You see that light?
Yes, I do.
What is that consistent with?
You can't tell.
Okay. All right. Would it surprise you to know that shell casings was found on that line right there?
It wouldn't, because the person that I saw shooting in all black was standing here, and he was following behind the car until he got to the other barricade, and that person started shooting.
Okay. And the muzzle flashes, the possible muzzle flashes that you identified earlier, those were coming from two different people, correct?
If both of them were muzzle flashes, that was two different people, yes.
Okay. Does the guy wearing the all black that you described, where is he on the scene at this particular point?
I don't know. Everybody's moving around and everybody has on black.
Let's replay it for you.
Okay, I'm gonna erase these.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is him. This is him.
That's him?
That's him.
Okay.
He's walking. Look like he went to the right, like he's going towards the Wendy's. He's still standing on the street. Now this is him, or it's two people, but I can't tell which one was him at that point because they walked past each other. They crossed paths. Looks as if it's this person here still, but I can't tell if they swapped because they both had on black.
Now, you see how you've just identified those muzzle flashes at the top of the barricade?
I'm not sure. Which one did I identify?
The two that you circled?
Yes.
That were possibly...
Yes.
You never did that at the bottom of the barricade, correct?
No, because the person was on the other side of the barricade, so you wouldn't have saw the muzzle flash.
1 second. While they were at the other end, from the shots that we saw from the other end, you never saw anyone picking up shell cases.
Which end?
The second end, the top end.
The back?
Yes.
Where he went around?
Yeah. Yeah. Where he went around.
No, I never saw anyone pick up shell casings down there.
So if somebody fired from there, the shell casing should have still been there, correct?
Yes.
And
Yes, they had some of the fancy things that you can get that catch the shell casings. Yeah, they have.
Tell me about it.
They have like a bag or something that you can buy for your gun, and it catches the shell casings when they shoot out.
I wish that I bet the shooter wished that he knew that. No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect? No questions. Okay, can we excuse this witness? Yes. Okay, ma'am, you can step down, and thank you for your testimony.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
excused. So if you want to stay and watch, you can, but you absolutely don't have to. Members of the jury, is this a good time for you to take a lunch break? Okay, how long would you like? 45? Okay, thank you.
All right, for the jury.
Oh, you're fine. Take your time. It's tricky because if you had indicted it differently, I wouldn't necessarily think it was required, but you just tracked the statute. You tracked part of the statute, so I'm not saying there's a problem with the indictment. Definitions, yeah, that's, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I guess, Judge, in reading the statute, he doesn't require that there be some, as I heard you say, tracking the statute, not the remaining portion of that would require an nexus to be proven.
It's because when you indict it as encouraging someone to participate in criminal street gang activities, it then mirrors A. That's why I'm saying there's kind of an issue with the statute. If you guys want to reach out to your appeals section, I'll give you time to do that. Okay. So while you're doing that, can we move forward through it? Okay. So then we get into the definitions. And the first.
Can you just highlight that portion before, so we gotta go back to what you want?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Okay, so then we get into the definitions. First one is participate. Any objection to that? Then criminal street gang. Then criminal gang activity. Consideration of criminal gang activity. And is that where you put in the conspiracy? I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at what you sent me instead of this. The conduct and presence of parties in conspiracy. Just move those from the front end of the charge back with the definitions. Oh, the gang? Oh, they're patterned. Okay. And the conduct and presence of the parties, along with the definitions of the. Okay. Mr. Hoover, have you had time to look at all those? No problem. We just need to make that font match too. What language would you like to see? So you want to add that to criminal street gang?
Yes, criminal gang activity.
But
No, criminal street.
criminal street gang, okay, so read that again.
The commission of an enumerated offense by the defendant is not itself sufficient to prove the existence of a criminal street gang.
Where would you like to place that? Above whether a criminal street gang exists in this case is for you, the jury, to decide?
Yes, Your Honor.
So right above that?
Yes, that'd be perfect.
Okay, reading that now, does the state have an objection to that sentence being added?
Yes. As it relates to the charge in full. I don't see the purpose.
What's the context? I'm not looking at that case. What's the context of the sentence you just read in that opinion?
So, the context of it was pretty much the argument that I made during the motion for directed verdict.
Mm-hmm.
They have to prove that the charge itself, say the murder, falls under the correct statute, which it does. It falls under the statute that could be considered criminal street gang activity. However, the murder in and of itself is not criminal street gang activity. There's an extra step that the jury has to determine the state made to prove that that charge is actually criminal street gang activity. So I think the wording that I want right above whether criminal street gang exists in this case is for you, the jury, to decide. I think that flows perfect. Because there is a case law, like the definition that you have does talk about the fact that criminal street gang may be established by evidence of common name, common identifying signs. But then there's case law that says, but in and of itself, that isn't even enough. The state still has to add something else for it to be criminal street gang, and that's for the jury to decide.
You guys have that case in front of you too? It's the that Rodriguez case.
If you need the site, it's Rodriguez, we say is 284 Georgia 808. It's also quoted in Ray AD and in Ray AG. And Mr. Cross had loved to tell me that he actually argued that case.
When it says an enumerated offense, do you mean the indictment? An offense in the indictment? An enumerated offense.
Well, no, my reading of that is the enumerated offense in the statute, because basically what it's saying is, does it fall under the statute to where it could be considered criminal street gang activity? And if it does, then I see that next step to say that it's not a single isolated event, it actually is criminal street gang activity. So not in the indictment. Does the charge in the indictment fall under the statute that's considered criminal street gang activity? That's how I read it.
But I believe that under that particular section, we're just talking about criminal street gang, it's not talking about street gang activity, so the offense doesn't really matter. I think it just becomes very confusing. It becomes very.
He couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, at that particular point, we're talking about criminal street gang, we're not talking about criminal gang activity, and by tying it into the offenses, I think it becomes very confusing, because I believe then criminal gang activity then explains that is tied to the actual charges and the offenses in the indictment.
Can I have the site one more time? Hold on one second.
Yes, Rodriguez, 284 Georgia 803, it's a 2009 case.
What was the page site, sorry? Or Georgia?
803, sorry.
Okay, where's the language? Where's
Right.
the language that you had for us that you wanted us to add? Right?
Mr. Regis. It was actually me.
It was her.
I was going, Your Honor. I reinstate Your Honor.
I think that would be the most.
And speaking with my, I'm sorry, am I called upon to speak or? May I speak?
Of course you can speak.
Okay, all right. And speaking with my esteemed colleague,
I'll take it.
That's what happens when you have an agreement.
come on. We are jointly asking if the jury can be set home at this point, and we continue debating or haggling or discussing the charge and start at 9 or 8:30 or 9:30, whatever time with the closing.
How long do you anticipate using your full 2 hours? Probably. You too. Okay. I would love to say no to that, but I think we're pretty far from having this final. So yes.
Thank you, colleague.
Your Honor, would you like to bring them in? Because are they in the back waiting on us?
You know what? I think we could bring them in, but we could also just send Deputy Hero back to explain to them what the situation is, that we've got more work to do and we're not willing to make them stay for that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Do we need to instruct them, don't discuss? Under the court's instruction. Well, listen, there's that language you just quoted. It's not in there. I've looked at it 3 times.
Now, is there any chance of getting Kevin Armstrong down here?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe he can help. Oh, okay. Is it where they're talking about Lindsay? I just don't see the language you read to me. I just head note 11 and 12.
It's where, I'm sorry?
Head note.
11 and 12?
I'm not in Westlaw.
I read it to say A.
Everybody just figure that out. Turn this on.
Yes, interject later.
y'all lose any more people to CBS?
Not that I know of. I mean, I know about Madeline. I know about Madeline. Madeline.
She gone?
Yeah. I don't know what happened with that.
Was she gone to CBS?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Their newscast is kind of different. Is that, I haven't watched CBS News because CBS, they got two names. What's the name? The lady's not there no more. But they had a room glass and pit like a video screen.
Yeah.
And then the floor was weird. The floor was lit up with like a chroma key.
It's really high tech.
Huh?
It's like.
I require regulars in the sound. And your color box. Yeah, it's not it's a life.
That's what I heard.
I have only one client.
In Atlanta,
She's very agreeable.
biggest place.
For one client.
First 5 years or so.
Yeah.
You all
And the one client that's on the record.
space outdoor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Less favorable.
It's easier for me to commute to because it's like 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. I just see assembly every day.
It's so big.
The history of the pool out there where like you can like if you have like an ocean scene, they just like go out in the water and like pretend it's the ocean and like film around it. The retention pond. Yeah. They can like empty it and all kinds of stuff. That's how they did Titanic. It's because they can't film the ocean.
Right.
So,
I know.
especially like the I won't let go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it's nice. But, yeah, my boyfriend actually applied to CBS like months back, and apparently their interviews suggest they want like all local. Because he's from out of state, and he's like, so what neighborhoods of Atlanta do you know about? And that was like one of the interview questions. Yeah. And it was like the recruiter used to be the news director in Philly, apparently. But I don't know. He kind of felt weird about it.
Well, I mean, he should have. Well, he didn't know that would come up.
No,
I understand
like
the sense
things, but like
redundant as to
it was
what
He
definition
should have done a
of
little
a
more,
street gang
maybe
is.
come down and visit you and oh, you know about Virginia Island? They can argue. They got a lot of nice restaurants and you can eat, you can walk around and feel free, you don't have to worry about the security because he could, whatever.
Although one story I did over there was a creepy guy walking around to like the same house and just standing there. So that's everything.
So I just sent the court and the council
It felt weird.
quotes from Rodriguez v. State talking about. I think it's very clear that E does not require a nexus because it doesn't use terms that A does, like the through that nature. That's
they're trying to go through with getting Tegna, but they have to get it signed off. And I think that's why they were doing the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. Because they're trying to curry favor with the higher ups. And that's why. Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't airing on Nexstar or something. All right. They were
It was fire.
Disney got pushback from people subscribing and their stocks tanked. I mean, I'm sure that was part of it. Like, there's other stuff that happened. It's just a matter of time before, not great. Like, no matter if you agree with them, they have free speech, so.
No, it's me because of the spark.
It's like they have a show that comes over. I guess it's reruns that come out from ABC. And then the show.
And that was interpreted, that specific word, to create the nexus requirement that exists for subsection A. And so when the court instructs the jury and uses the word through, or the indictment simply uses the word through, that essentially encapsulates that requirement of the nexus, because that's where the nexus requirement comes through, is that word through. And that's how the Supreme Court of Georgia upheld subsection A over a constitutional challenge of association. Subsection E does not include that as an element of the crime. And I think one of the reasons why in this particular case it seems a bit confusing is because to give the defense more assistance in identifying what they would have to defend against, we particularized several of the counts. I believe 11 and...
The last portion of the statute, beginning with that preposition, indicates that the means of participation in or management of a criminal street gang activity is not merely the unlawful procurement of an enumerated offense, but rather consists of the actual commission of an. That's what they did. They added in the actual commission of an enumerated offense, which brings in the nexus. And if you remember from the testimony from Mr. Coleman, he actually, I don't agree that it's true, but he actually said the way that Julian encouraged individuals was to actually be out there doing what they're charging him with. Not that he encouraged them or coerced them, but because he was physically out there doing what he was charged. Exactly. So the fact that they wrote it this way, it wasn't to do the defense a favor. I've never heard that in my life. It was they created this issue to where the nexus, they grew the nexus in counts 19 and 11 because of what they omitted and what they added. The actual statute itself, subsection E, does not have that at all. They didn't follow the statute. They decided to create their own charge, and now they're stuck with what they did, Your Honor. And again, this is what
So I would suggest that this is probably the elegant solution to it, which is the court is going to separately define participation in criminal street gang activity for the jury. To the extent that the state has alleged the E to include participation in street gang activity, it would simply be the court has already instructed on what it means to participate in criminal street gang activity. I would not create a new element and put that on E based on how the indictment is alleged, because the court is also going to instruct the jury. The state is going to have to prove every material allegation within the indictment. And so the issue here is, how is the court going to define a crime? But to the extent that the defense is concerned that we are the ones that have alleged participation in criminal street gang activity as an element of the subsection E charges, Your Honor is already going to define that unless the subsection A counts have fallen out.
I was just going to say, what we did in the charges that we're discussing is that we just made it very specific as to what the criminal gang activity is that's being alleged for those offenses. So it can't be, the general criminal gang activity and what Your Honor would define as what's criminal gang activity in subsection A, which could be more than the offenses in which we specified whatever counts we got, counts 11 and 17, I believe it was, and 19.
The subsection E charges are 11, 12, 19, and 20. It seems that they're pairs and that they're worded different ways. And so I think the one that most clearly looks like participation in criminal street gang activity as far as participating through are the first of the two pair of each pair. Yes.
We also talked about the witness attack to come back.
Yes.
I think you're correct. We think you're correct.
Your Honor, there was a my recollection was that on redirect of Mr. Isley, I believe there is testimony about his lack of certainty when he made an identification. And then I planned on playing his statement for him, but on recross, he admitted that he did make his identification with certainty. So I think he said one thing earlier and then changed it, walked it back, at a minimum, walked it back to say that he did make an identification with certainty. So I would ask that witness attack remain in. This is not an exhaustive list of the ways that a witness may be attacked. This may include evidence that was illustrative without being exhaustive. So based on that, I would argue.
Just take out that whole laundry list, just leave it in as a credibility, or Charles Williams' credibility.
I'd be fine with that, Your Honor, yes.
So just the first sentence?
Just the first sentence, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, and then take out witness supporting.
do not, but I'm looking at on the screen.
Would you just take 5 minutes and put what you're recommending into that and send it to all of us? I'm not saying that's exactly what I'm going to do, but it will help me to have that.
Okay.
What you refer to as your elegant solution.
Absolutely. And I don't know that it would be in what y'all have proposed for the instructions, but since a level of certainty phrase has been mentioned, I just wanted to point out that is something that the appellate courts have asked not to be included in witness credibility instructions from the court. The parties can certainly argue about a witness's level of certainty, but they've asked in Brodus versus State not to have the court instruct on level of certainty within the means by which you judge a witness's credibility.
Are we talking about anything in particular?
No, I just said that because you mentioned level of certainty as being one of the issues in the case.
Right.
That used to be part of the pattern instruction, and that was an issue that came up in the late 2000s. Absolutely. Your instructions. I'm sorry?
Are we gonna finish with the affirmative defense's justification? Like that's gone, or because there were more we didn't. We agree.
No, that, co-defendant, I would say no to. However, now that Ms. Schuster, now that you said it, explained it, I'm okay with, like 11, 12 looking like that. Because that actually does differentiate between, who they're supposed to be. Right, I like that. Or I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I think it was 19, I'm fine with that.
Hold on one second, Your